Hello and welcome to the Weekend Investing Daily Bite of 21st of November and a bloodbath in the markets today on Adani Group stocks. There is a indictment in the US courts against Mr. Adani and his group and several others that they have paid bribes to get power and energy contracts in several states, Andhra Pradesh and other states in the years 2020 to 2022. So this is now a big scare in the market again. The company has come out and said that these are baseless and they will fight it out in the courts. Interestingly, all these states were not the ruling government state. So very interesting that the opposition-led states were, in case this is true, were enjoying all the corruption gains while making the noise on the streets. Anyhow, so Adani News has left investors shattered today. Please do read the disclaimer, do subscribe to the channel and click on the bell notification. So the markets showing resilience once again. It did dip below this support level, but 23,300 seems to be so far a very solid support. Markets came back from 23,263, almost 90 points recovery during the day, although it has closed at a new 5-month low since 1st of June. So 0.72% down today, but it's extremely oversold now, and I think a bounce towards this average is due anytime. Nifty Next 50, where Adani stocks are more in concentration, lost a lot more ground, but that also recovered quite dramatically from 66,000 to 66,700, closing about 1.5% lower. Still significant damage done on Nifty Next 50. Nifty mid caps, while they were roiled in the morning, recovered most of the losses and closed 0.38% down. So not much lost on Nifty mid cap. And somewhat similarly on small caps, also minus 0.58%, where it remained in the range of this big candle of the last 4 sessions. Nifty Bank Index also recovering very smartly in the morning. State Bank of India had lost almost 5% in this mayhem. That also recovering quite nicely, and Bank Nifty overall also recovering quite well. In the morning, there was, I think, a scare that this is going to spread to public sector banks because they have the most exposure to Adani projects. But it seems like the market is well-footed, not so weak. We have come off from the highs, but I don't think we are on a weak footing as yet. So 0.5% down on Bank Nifty. In terms of overall markets, you had 356 declines to 141 advances. So the declines were obviously uh, much more than the advances. The FII DII trends, again, the FII selling has gone up in the previous session at 3,400 crores, which had reduced over the last 10 days, but starting to pick back up again. And DIIs have been buying all through. Heat maps are all red. State Bank of India recovering from nearly 4.5-5% to 2.7% down. You had Reliance losing 1.5%, ITC losing 2.18%, NTPC down 2.8%, and Adani Enterprise 22.6% down. Adani Ports 13.57% down. So some big cuts there. IT stocks staying put where they are. Nifty Next 50 washed in red. You can see Adani Green 19%, Adani Power 9%, Adani and Salt 20%, ATGL 10%. All these stocks were down. And you also had some deep cuts in IRFC, REC, PFC. Some of it was recovered towards the end. PNB, Bank of Baroda, Canara Bank, Zomato, HAL, IOC, DMart, Ambuja Cement, another Adani Group stock, recovered somewhat, but still closed 11.9% down. In terms of sectors, you had PSU banks getting roiled at minus 2.7%, metals down minus 2.3%, energy minus 2.2%, commodities 2% down, public sector enterprise 1.3% down. FMCG surprisingly continues to fall minus 1.2%. Autos, infra consumption, not so much 0.9%, but sort of in line with Nifty at 0.7% down. IT and real estate actually in the second half of the day really picked up well, 0.9% up on that. So real estate is giving an indication that it has hit some sort of a short-term bottom, if not a long-term bottom. Private banks also not falling much lower now at 0.1% gain. So look out for gains in such kind of markets, in sectors and in stocks. They will tell you where the relative strength of the market is. For the month gone by, energy stocks have been hit the worst at 12.7%, and for 3 months gone by, again energy is the worst performer at minus 17.9%. Real estate stocks coming back up marginally. It was a surprise to see this segment close 0.93% higher, and several of the stocks of the real estate segment actually went up. Prestige, Phoenix Mills being some of them. Vijaya Diagnostics is a stock that made a new high today, up 7.41%. So in a market where everything is getting smashed down, there are stocks that are hitting new highs, and that is a good indication of relative strength in those stocks. Over a longer period also, this stock has gone places from nearly 300 rupees to nearly 1200 rupees in the last 2 years. Adani news, let's come back to this, leaves investors shattered. So US prosecutors have alleged that $250 million of bribes were paid in exchange for favorable terms on solar power contracts won by Adani Green and Azure Power Global. This was the outcome of this news. NDTV and Ambuja Cement, along with Adani Energy, did Adani Power did come back from their lows, but most of the others closed very near their uh, daily lows. You can see on the right side the kind of big cuts that have happened in several of these stocks. So overview of the bribery case. So the US Attorney Office in New York has indicted 8 officials, including Gautam Adani. Allegations are that in these 4 years, they paid bribes to unnamed government officials. Those unnamed government officials were part of the government of various state governments, as I mentioned earlier. Uh, and the timing of this seems very circumspect because Adani was about to launch their fundraising. So every time Adani tries to come to the market for fundraising, something or the other happens. Sometimes Hindenburg, sometimes the and this case was filed a year ago. So I mean, it has come into the fore at this point of time is sort of very surprising. Of course, one doesn't know what exactly has happened, whether one is to be uh, blamed or not. But yeah, I mean, this is looking like a well-timed impact on this group. Adani Group, of course, has responded to the charges. They've said it's baseless. They've scrapped their offering. After this, the GQG Partners, a very big investor in Adani, says that they will review the case. They've recently added to the Adani stocks portfolio, and the potential reputational damage and challenges for foreign fundraising. So this will likely also put the foreigners on a back foot for some time. They too will assess whether all Indian corporates are behaving like this, or they will the gung ho unbridled outlook towards India can get damaged if this is proven. But most of the times these are issues that don't really come in the path of long term growth or sustenance of the the trajectory that we are on. Yes, some if this group does get proven that they have done this, it will cause significant fundraising issues for them for some time. It may cause delays in a lot of infra projects, which is a loss for overall uh, India growth story. But let's see how this goes. So I will not go too much into details on this. These are the executives who have been listed. And let's now look at stocks. What have stocks done? So Adani stocks, if you remember in Feb 2023, the Hindenburg report had come, and stocks had crashed at that point. Adani Enterprise from nearly 4,000 to nearly 900 or 1,000 rupees. And then from 1,000, it came back to nearly 3,600 and have crashed back to 2,100 odd. So 47% down from from where it was at the highest, but still from COVID lows, I mean, 19x from there. So even if the valuations are very, very rich, this fall has really not dented very long-term holders of the stock. Again, in Adani Ports, you can see this was the previous uh, alert of Hindenburg that caused this crash. It was fully recovered, and in fact, Adani Ports went into a new high, and now 32% down from there. Also, a good recovery towards the end of the day at 1114. So 11% down on this, 5.5x since the COVID lows. Adani Green Energy, this was the previous fall, and then almost fully recovered post that, and now it has fallen again from the earlier peak. We're still down at 62% and 10x up from COVID bottoms. Adani Power has done quite well actually. This was the fall of the Hindenburg report, which was very quickly made up, and then a huge run up from nearly 200 rupees to almost 900 rupees. And from there, we are down 50% at 476. From COVID lows, we are still up 20x on this. Adani Energy Solution never recovered from this previous fall. So this fall from 4,400, it went down to nearly 600. Then it recovered to 1,200 and is down now back at that fall. This chart is probably the weakest chart amongst all Adani groups, down 83% from the top, up 4.5x from COVID bottoms. Adani Total Gas is also similar. It is down 85% from the previous top. This recent spurt that happened towards the end of 2023 has been completely wiped out. So we are again not looking at a very nice chart. And below this support, I think more mayhem can happen. Still up 7.5x since COVID. NDTV, which did not really fall in Feb 2023, is now back at the same level where it was since 2022. It's up 8.5x since the COVID bottom, but down 72% from where it was. Ambuja Cements also has done not too bad, I would say, up 3.5x since COVID lows. This was the fall of Hindenburg, fully recovered and then went to new highs and is now down 30% from that top. Adani Wilmar, since IPO days, shot up in the first few weeks, but has never recovered from that. Even the February fall here has never been recovered. So it has consistently made new lows and it has now closed at an all-time low almost for Adani Wilmar and down 66% from there. So all these stocks are down 50 to 80% from their highs. No momentum strategy is likely to buy these stocks or has bought these stocks. So this is the advantage of always being with the strength in the market, that once you have been hit by that previous Hindenburg report, and at that point of time a lot of Adani stocks were in momentum portfolios, and a lot of them made money also in that 2 year period. But now since then, since the momentum never sort of really came back in almost all the stocks, barring one or two, you would see that the momentum strategy stayed away from all these stocks. So this is the beauty of self-selection of strength in the markets by momentum strategies, and that's how you can save yourself from stocks that are likely to do this again. So what do you think about Adani stocks, whether they will recover from here or not? Do mention in the comments. It will be nice to read them. And one would imagine that this would take some more time to settle out. Don't try to catch falling knives is my thesis. If you have to buy stocks that are falling, at least allow them a 2-3 day period to settle down. Look for a closing above a 2 day high at least to get your first leg in. Make sure that the market tells you that it is buyable now before you jump in. That is the only sort of safety one can do in terms of falling stocks. Thank you so much for watching this. If you like the content, please share these videos with your friends and colleagues and family, and do subscribe to the channel. Thanks. Bye.